Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Dungeons, Dragons, and Space Shuttles. So, in yesterday's episode, I know it was a really late posting. That's because I've been slammed the last 2 days. My dad, he does like these workshops, him and my stepmom. Like they host them and teach people about like antique sewing machines and I don't know. I'm not really into it, but that's what he does. And so, anyways, he recently he was in Texas for a while doing some workshops there, and then just got back, and um, he brought back me some plants to kind of cultivate and work with, but like some cactus and stuff. But then he found this place over near where he was staying at this one point. And anyways, somebody had planted a garden years ago, and they had planted like green garlic. And anyways, the green garlic just kind of spread and just kind of took over around the area. So, anyways, he went and harvested a bunch of it. We over the weekend, or not over the weekend, earlier in the week, like 2 days that we spent processing, and it was like 150 pounds of like green garlic, and we were making kimchi, and we did some pickles, and like with the stems, let's say kimchi. It was like buchu kimchi, pickles. I did some chives, like a lot of chives. And then we did pickled the roots. We pickled the roots and did like a pesto and did a bunch of canning and stuff. And minced garlic. And anyways, it's so much stuff that we were processing. Of course, it didn't come out to be, right at 150 pounds, but there wasn't a whole lot that we wasted. Just the outer leaves and stuff like that we tossed. But I mean, you could pretty much eat the stalk and the leaves and the roots and the everything. So anyways, I've been really, really busy with that. So, but anyways, we got it all processed and whatnot. So, so anyways, since last episode, I have done a bit of work. I've been eating through. This is like the last of the stuff that we need to eat, that counts as new food. But I've done a bit of work. I went ahead and placed out the rest of this floor down through here with brownstone. And I did a little bit of mining, and I also cleared out this area. So, we're going to be using this today, starting to use this today. Of course, it's not prettified yet, but we do have a room that's cleared out over here. And we're going to use that for basically tree farm processing and power generation. It's kind of my thinking. I think it's going to be a big enough area to handle everything that we've got coming from the farms, I think. And then I also finished clearing out over here. We had this little area down here. I finished clearing this out. I haven't added the elevator or started adding anything yet. I just haven't had a lot of time. So, and I believe that's most of what I did. I also pulled up our coke oven that was over there, the one that we had, and I've been cooking down a bunch of bricks. And let me go ahead and get a few more of these. Okay, I'm gonna get some more coal running. So that's what I've been working on. I've got a little over 2 stacks of coke bricks at the moment. And so then what we're going to do is, let me see, let's get actually, I've got transfer nodes. Let me grab those. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and make some more transfer pipes as well. Electrotine alloy plates, bronze plates, and then glass. Okay, I'm going to get the stuff going for that for right now. And I also need to make some drawers because we need to start figuring out what all we're going to have coming out of the tree farm in total, and then what we're going to have that we're going to be processing and figuring up what all we're going to need. So actually, let me get like a handful of drawers. Okay, there's 10 drawers. That should be enough to get us started. I'm going to go with the single drawers in this situation, I think. And then as far as the way they're going to look, actually with the way I'm thinking about doing this, I think we're going to go with a mix of gabbro and soapstone, so it ends up looking like that. which I think is going to blend in pretty nicely into our build. I'm also going to want to get a drawer controller. Okay, so there's a nether quartz gear, and there is our drawer controller. Awesome. And I think that's the main things that I need right this second. I do believe. So let's go ahead and pop over. Of course, I'm going to need some more transfer nodes, and I'm going to need some other stuff, but we'll start with this. By the way, what does it take in this pack to make drums? A whole lot of steel and silicon. Oh, wow, silver tanks. Iron drum takes a tin tank. Whoa! Demonically gargantuan drum. Okay. I was kind of curious. We'll upgrade that later. I don't think we're going to upgrade it right this second, but let's go ahead and let me get this switched over real quick. And we'll go ahead and pop down here. Okay, so what we're going to do is I think we could probably have the drawer system over here, like along this wall maybe. So let's go ahead and we'll clear out, let's do it right here. So it's just kind of tucked back in here, and then we'll have like maybe fluid storage on this wall. So all of our resources will be here, and then all of this section will be for the processing part. And then I imagine we're probably going to need to add some more drawers down through here, but I think we're just going to start with, we'll start with 9. I think that'll be fine. And then our drawer controller, let's put it setting, I don't know if I want it visible or not. Actually, we'll put it here. It won't be visible because there's actually going to be, there's going to be some tiles that come out just to kind of offset from the drawers, but I think right there is good. Okay, so what we're going to have, let's see. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and set up our coke bricks. Go ahead and get these out of our inventory and get these kind of laid out. So this is going to have a railing on it, so it's not going to be a straight drop. But I'm going to come out like 1, 2, 3. We'll start here. Let's see. I think what we'll do is we'll bring it back to right in here, and then bring it up to right there. And then I'll shape the room up to kind of match that. So, but if we do that, let me see something here. Now I do that. Okay, that works. Oh, but wait. Well, actually, I can do plates on the wall, so it doesn't stick out like that. But I think if we did... If we did the next one right on top, I think they would still form. I think. So that's what we're going to try. Now I did that. Awesome. Okay, so I've got these like double stacked coke ovens. And then what we'll do is, I don't know if I want to put a block between them. Because I'll be pulling out from the back. I don't know if I just want it to be just one big like super wall of coke ovens. So like that, and then, you know, above it as well. I'm actually thinking yes. Well, let's see. How much, if I did that, I could go to right there, which would actually be pretty good. That's kind of where I want it to go to. Because I want to leave a couple blocks between it and the wall on that side. Okay. Yeah, that didn't even put a dent in this. Because I'm actually thinking about having some more coke ovens on this wall as well. Coke ovens will take up the most room in the room, you know. But that's, of course, because they take a 27 block space. But they end up being, I think, the best if we scale them up compared to anything else. I mean, there's other methods which are faster that you don't have to scale up so much. But, you know, those take power and they don't produce as much creosote. And what we're going to do, we're going to plug up a transfer node there, transfer node there, and then we'll do transfer node, transfer node. That's what we'll do. And then we'll just put the sand back on top of that, which this may end up becoming a block, a specific block. Just for right now, I've got sand because we can. Just because we can. And then it might change to some kind of a brick or something, but... okay, so this will be able to... What the transfer nodes are going to do is it's going to pull out fluids. is all it's going to do. So let me pop over. Let me go get my Buildcraft wrench. Or extra utilities wrench, I mean. Actually, let's do /back. Okay, and I should be able to get some more coke bricks. But now I'm out of black iron. I'm actually starting to get low on iron. We had a lot of it, and I've been eating through it. So I'm going to hold off. We'll start with, what, probably 5? Yeah, 5 coke ovens. For right now. Oh, one other thing that I need to get real quick. I want to get a retrieval node, the fluid version. So it's going to take 2 ender pearls and a diamond for this. So there's that. And then another thing that I need to get is I need to get an apple. I need to get, I don't have any more. Oh, actually, I've got saplings in overflow. We'll go ahead and grab saplings. And then I also need to get a piece of wood, or a few pieces of oak wood. Okay, and these should be the 3 main things that are going to come from our tree farm, I think. I think there's a chance we could get wonder sap. Which if so, if we start getting that, I'm probably just going to trash it. And so I'll set up a trash can for that, but I'm not for sure. I'm not for sure if it's going to come from it. I've only ever gotten wonder sap once, so it seems like it's pretty rare, but it is very possible that we'll get that. Okay, let's put our saplings there. We'll put our apples there, and our oak wood's going to go there. And then let's go ahead. We're going to plug up our transfer node line, and this is going to run... I guess I'm just going to run it over to fluid storage. So what we'll do is that, and we'll break off these connections. And then bring it over there. And where we're going to bring it to, let's see, what other options do I have for a tank? I could actually go for a black hole tank. It's really not that expensive. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and get a black hole tank. We might as well. They're pretty cheap. They require 8 platinum plates, which I've got. How much platinum do I have? Plenty. Do I want to go ahead and get... I'm going to start with 1. I'm probably going to end up making a few of these because we are going to have a couple other fluids that come from that room, but we'll start with just 1. And then we're going to need 8 bronze plates, which I've actually got that running. And then we're going to need 4 buckets, 2 eyes of ender. And then I'm going to need 9 ender pearls. Overall, it's very, very cheap. Very, very cheap. For as good of a tank as it is, it's very, very cheap. Let's see. We're going to need some red alloy. Which I'm actually going to go ahead and just run that bronze as plates. And then we're going to need 9 iron. Because the iron, or the ender ingots, are just ender pearls plus iron. So, then we'll get... There's our block of ender. And then let's pop over... and go get those bronze plates and then the platinum plates made. I need to be using this more because it actually gets you from like point A to point B very, very quick. Okay, and while that's running, I'm going to go ahead and pop down here. And that way we don't have to worry about really upgrading our fluid storage. We just have a whole lot of fluid storage. Like right out the gate. Okay, so... grab all this stuff out. The black hole tank, there's that. Woot. That's actually a very, very nice tank. Very, very nice. And then I think we're ready to go. I am going to need some more transfer pipes, but that's what we got all this stuff being made for. Let me grab some glass. And we're going to have to make these in the engineer's workshop right now, so... actually, I remember the recipe. They were... this... and I think they needed silicon in there. And then I don't remember which tools we need. We need the cutters, the pliers, the gem cutter. Okay, I got the silicon. Now, one thing that Freebie actually told me about, I didn't realize you could do this. The stone tanks, when we have stuff in here, instead of just destroying it, we can grab it like that. Of course, you can use other things if you have like a full bucket, and there's also the pipet. But we can just gather it with the stone tank and save all of our fluid, which is pretty nice. That is pretty nice. So we need 1,000 silicon per. There we go. There's 8. I need more bronze before I can get more. So Okay, so let's pop over. I've got bronze running, so we should be able to get some more transfer nodes here in a minute. Oh, actually, one thing I want to grab before we head out is I've got some coal. This was actually from the coke oven that we had going. I'm going to go ahead and just grab all of this, because once this gets up and going, we should have plenty of charcoal coming in. I don't know if we're going to have enough blast furnaces to really make a whole lot at the moment. Because we're going to need quite a few blast furnaces. You know, I've done a setup kind of like this before, but eventually we can make, well, really, I think we could already make the machines for it. Let's see, we can also make charcoal using hay bales, the wood piles from forestry, but there is that, and you get 600 millibuckets. But then there's also this, but you only get 100 millibuckets compared to 250 on the creosote, which will be useful later. We'll be using that for power production. The compressed sawdust as well. But yeah, and sugarcane and saguaro. So eventually we may set up some of these if we're having issues keeping up with the coke ovens, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. But right now I've just got 5, and we'll add in more to that. For the black hole tanks, I think I'm going to set these up like... I'm actually going to have this wall come out just slightly. So I think we're going to have the black hole tanks sitting right here. Or, you know, this first one anyways. Actually, no. I want to bring it up by 1. And one thing to note, these should retain their inventory as well. So, okay, so what we're going to do is let's dig into here. And then over. Okay, and there's our transfer line right there. And then what we'll do is we'll just bring this, no, don't connect there. We'll just bring this over. Okay, and I'm going to need a couple more of those. Let me pop up here. We should have those bronze plates done. Which I guess I'm going to need to make some more black iron and make some more coke bricks. Okay, so I've got enough for 3 more crafts here. So let's go ahead. 3... And there we go. There's 24 transfer pipes. And that should be more than enough. Okay, so this is going to come out, and we're going to have a retrieval node right there. And basically what this is going to do is it's going to pull all the creosote that's being made, right? It's going to pull it from... Just going to drop that into there. It's going to pull it from the coke ovens. And we'll go ahead and get those going. Okay, so, and then one other thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and empty out these stone tanks that we've got. So if we set these up like there and there, this stuff should start getting pulled out. Yeah, there we go. We're definitely going to want some speed upgrades for this as soon as we can. But you can see there's 400 millibuckets. I think it's only pulling out 200 millibuckets per operation. And that's where we need the speed upgrades. There we go, 600, 800... And what all do we need for the speed upgrades? I think they're standard. We just have to get the resonator, which is, and then we have to get power up and going for this stuff. Which really, I don't think this is too bad. No, we could actually craft that. So we're probably going to get into that soon because I am going to want red coal. But anyways, I'm going to start draining these stone tanks out, and then it's going to start pulling the creosote. Well, actually, it pulled out... Yeah, I pulled out the creosote from these first 2. Can I do that? Yes. Okay. That's a little bit better. And then it can just focus on working with the coke ovens for now. There we go. Okay, so right now we've got 33 buckets and counting. And that gives me 2 more for lava. Okay, and I just realized we're short on wheel right now. I'm going to have to go out and farm wheel. Because I need to make some nodes, actually. Let me do a /back real quick. And let's see what kind of nodes we've got. I've got inputs. I got 2 of those. And then I've got a node router. And I think that's it, actually. We really need to get into auto farming wheel. That'll probably be one of our big objectives after we finish setting up power for the factory. Which is, it's like I said, it's going to be a few episodes before we finish up power in the factory. And that's only tentatively finishing it. Like getting everything started, and then we'll continue working on stuff. But okay, I went ahead and locked these. So we've got oak wood, saplings, and apples there. And I think what we're going to do now is let's go ahead and just bring these transfer nodes around. And then right here, we're going to plug up a transfer node, or a transfer, we're going to plug it up right there. And then let's put down this. Let's break off that connection so it doesn't try to feed items out and back into the drawer there. And I also need to get a filter really quick. Okay, so let's grab that piece of oak wood and we're going to set it to the filter. We're going to say that's all you can pull out is oak wood. And then if we put this into there, we pull out the saplings, there goes the oak wood. Okay, it's not going to mess with the apples and the saplings and everything else that's going to be generated here. And then what we'll do is we'll just run our transfer nodes over and plug them in like that. It should be able to run on the same transfer line because this is moving fluids. This is going to be moving, the oak wood. So that should be fine. And then what we'll do is we'll set up, let's see, I actually need this other retrieval node and I need another filter. Let's see, these aren't running. They've got charcoal. Good. Yeah, we definitely need speed upgrades because you can see some creosotes building up in this. So, actually, can I do... Well, no, because this is all going to run on the same one. Let me go get another filter, in fact. I need one more filter. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have a retrieval node on this drawer controller. And we're going to put it on the back side. Technically, I could just have it to... well, you know what? Yeah, actually, instead of doing that, let's put it just onto the drawer. Which I could have this transfer node on the drawer, and then I wouldn't even need a filter for that. Which actually wouldn't be a bad idea. I could save on filters. We're going to have charcoal right there, so yeah, let's do that, actually. Let's pull this off, because really all I'm moving in that direction through the transfer nodes is going to be wood and charcoal. So we'll go ahead and just put that there, or actually I'll put it on the back. And we'll just run it over like that, and then bring it like that. Okay, so this should start pulling in charcoal. There's 12 in there at the moment, and then if this had wood, it would start moving that over. So if we give it just a second, and actually I guess if I put that there, I think it's going to stop it from checking in this direction, but I'm not sure about the retrieval node. There's 45, okay, 45.7. It should be able to check because it's going to say, okay, you check off in this direction. But it's not going to send anything down this direction. And then I think if I did that, it's not going to check in this direction. This isn't going to check off in this direction. So it's basically just going to say, okay, go down in that direction. Which should work best, I think. Okay, 45.9, great. This still only has 12 charcoal in it. Oh, that's, you know what? It's because it's a retrieval node fluid is what it is. Whoops, I need retrieval node item, which takes 200 pearls and an emerald. Okay, so we'll plug that up. Then it should start working. So we'll give it just a little bit, but this is still building up. There's 46,300 in there at the moment. That's great. This, there we go, 13, 14. Okay, so it is pulling out charcoal. It's just really slow. We're going to have to get speed upgrades for this stuff. Okay, now that that stuff's set up, what I want to do is... Well, actually, before I can do that, I'm going to need a node system. Okay, so let's go... I'm going to need an input node, an output node, and a master node. Which I already got input nodes. And we'll go ahead and actually plug these up. So what we're going to do is over here... Let's see, I think it's the green side that's the from cart. Yes. Okay, so we're going to put an input node right there. And basically what that's going to do is it's going to pull items from the cart. Just everything from the cart. And then I am going to need another... Actually, I'm going to want 2 master nodes. Yeah, I'm going to want 2 master nodes. So, well, let's go ahead and set out the cart. And I'm going to need to go kill stuff for wheel. Actually, because this is going to take this is going to take a bit of wheel to get the 2 master nodes that I need. Okay, so give me a second. Since it's nighttime, I'm going to go kill some stuff real quick. Okay, we got our master node. Then I've got 2 outputs, 2 inputs, and of course we already set up one of our inputs. So let's pop back over here. There we go. Wheel's going to be a whole lot easier soon because we're going to have a mob farm. We're going to be setting that up before long. And then, of course, it's going to get even easier whenever we automate wheel. So, let's set this up. The master node can go right back here, I guess. So we'll say this one is going to be inputting into the drawer controller. This one right here is going to be outputting from the drawer controller. And let me get a torch. Just light this up a little bit more. And we're going to do an output routing node that's attached to the back of the drawer controller. And then that connects to that. That connects to that. Okay, so it's going to be inputting items from that and sending them over here. So for example, these saplings, if I was to now come right up here and I drop these into there, they get pulled out, and this should now have them. It does, okay? But it shouldn't pull out anything. For example, if I pull out this stack of saplings and I put them in the section that goes to the engine, you'll notice it's not getting pulled out. Perfect. Okay, and so then what we're going to do is we're going to put an output routing node that sits right down here. And I actually need a filter for this because I think within that master node, of course, technically we could have all this plugged up to the master nodes over there if we so desired. But I don't really want to do that because that's going to be, that little section is going to be its own system. I'm not afraid of using additional master nodes, and I don't mind the cost, really. It's going to get a whole lot cheaper soon anyways. So, all right, let's grab a precise item filter. And what we're going to do is we're going to use precise filters for filtering most of the items that are coming out of this system, or out of this drawer controller. So let's grab ourselves a piece of charcoal. Let's pop back down here, and we're going to say on the upside, you're going to have a filter. You're only going to accept charcoal. And so any charcoal that gets in this system, it's going to pull it out. And I'm going to leave that as a 0 priority because that's ideal. And then we're going to have an input routing node that's going to connect. We'll have it connect to the bottom of this. So we'll put it right there and just connect that over to that master. Connect that over, and we'll connect it to that output routing node. Okay, so you can see that charcoal has just went into here. Great. And then what we're going to do after we... Oh, I don't have oh well. I left my Tartaric gem over there. Okay, but then what we're going to do is we're going to set up our cart. We'll go ahead and put it right here. And we're going to, let's start out by putting, inside the woodcutter, we're going to put saplings right there. Because the woodcutter, what it does is it takes saplings out of here and it plants them. Whenever it finds a place where a tree can be planted. And actually over here, I don't think it was this way last episode. I did it after last episode, but that was a while back. whenever I recorded last episode, it was a while back. But anyways, I did plant some trees down through here. And everywhere that I don't want trees planted, I put sand. Okay. Now, eventually I am going to change this out from grass and have like a brick, and then probably do a brick border around the edge as well. But for right now, it's fine. And I did also bring some water up. This doesn't actually do anything, but this is going to be for decorative purposes, because eventually this wall is going to be gone, and there's going to be, there's going to be a water system that runs out this way. So this water just kind of brings it over to the tree farm so that, it could stay nice and hydrated. So, and then this is going to lead into here. But I'm probably going to have carts that kind of run through the inner wall sections, but we'll see. Okay, so anyways, this has got the saplings that go in there. And then what I need to do, I actually need some oak wood. That's fine. There should be plenty. I know there's actually some underneath this floor because I built the floor up over it. But I really just need like one piece. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this oak wood and we're going to set up our advanced smelter. If you recall, I was debating about not having an advanced smelter in this, but I decided that we're going to put one in here. We're going to set this to the engine slot right there. So it can make oak wood, or it can smelt oak wood and make tiny charcoal. But that's only if this gets below, we're going to say 32. If it gets below 32 charcoal, then it's going to smelt some up and make tiny charcoal. It's not really ideal for us because, you know, we want actual charcoal. I think the tiny charcoal you can craft, okay, you can craft it into charcoal. What's the burn time on these? Okay, 4 items, so it's half of what charcoal is. Okay, I want to make sure it was half, but so it really doesn't matter too much. So if it's below 32, the only thing is it's going to have to, basically it's going to have to stay filled, or it's going to make tiny charcoal. That's fine. That's fine. What we're going to do is we're going to put our coal there, and you can see that it's come over here, and it is dropping stuff off. It's picking up charcoal, and you can see the charcoal just went in there. And come back. I wasn't ready for you to go yet. Stop. You're going to stop running now. Okay, the charcoal is going to go there, actually. And this third slot will be for, I guess, if this runs out. It shouldn't run out, but if it runs out, then it can do like a half stack of tiny charcoal in the coal engine. That's fine. Okay, so high priority. Start running. Because we got everything plugged up, now it can drop off its items. So that's the main thing I wanted to get up and, get everything up and going. So it starts making charcoal, and it sends that charcoal over to it sends it over to the thing that it sends it over to. And that should work good. Okay, so it's going off in that direction. And it should be chopping down trees at the moment. If we pop up here, yeah, you can see the trees are getting destroyed. Now, sometimes it won't break all the leaves. Like, it'll cut down a tree, and then leaf decay will cause it to basically break the leaves before the cart can pick it up because it's outside of its range, basically. But that's what the cleaning machine is for. If anything does drop to the ground, the cleaning machine is going to vacuum it up, and there we go. It goes into the cart and ends up in the same place. But it's going to cut down all these leaf blocks, and then it should start working on the wood after that. If we take a look inside of here, you can see it's getting apples, and it's building up on saplings as well. Awesome. Which I will end up putting void upgrades on the storage inside of the room there to make sure that we always just keep this thing running. It's not like it has any overhead. It can't break, and it basically runs off charcoal that it's producing. Technically I could just smelt wood and run it off of the tiny charcoal, but I'd rather process it into the charcoal over there so we get the creosote, because we are going to be using that for power as well. Okay, so it's just about through the leaves. Honestly, I might just pull this coal out and let it build up 32 tiny charcoal, because I don't think it's really going to hurt anything if it does. Okay, now it's starting to get wood. Starting to build up on oak wood. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and there we go. It's going to start producing tiny charcoal. That's not going to get ran through until it runs through all of this stuff. And I'm thinking a stack of charcoal should get it through. I'm actually probably going to pull out that coal, because it really doesn't need it. I just put it in there to help it get started, honestly. But it should have plenty of charcoal. Plenty of it. Okay, so what I want to do now, let me pop over here. Let me get some oak wood out of this. Probably just go ahead and empty out the drawer and move all that oak wood over there, so that I think the biggest concern is the coke oven not keeping up. Though it's actually pretty fast, in truth. I think it takes a little bit longer to make actual coal coke, but to make charcoal, it's decently fast. It might actually be the same speed, but it should be able to keep up, actually, I think. But I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple stacks of this so it can go ahead and start making charcoal, because right now it has no wood and it has no charcoal over here. Okay, the transfer node's grabbing that stuff. Let's see if it sends it to one of the coke ovens. Yes, it did. Okay, it did. And it's starting to run. Awesome. It's probably going to fill this one up first. That's fine. If it does, it's not a big deal. And then once it fills that one up, it's going to get the other ones running. But okay, so let's check on the cart. Okay, it's gotten its 32 tiny charcoal, and now it's just running around collecting wood. It's already got a stack and a half. Honestly, it won't take very long before we have so much wood and charcoal and apples and saplings and red coal and just all these things, treated wood and oak wood planks and sawdust. We won't know what to do with all of it, honestly. And then once we get the sawdust automated, I guess we can go ahead and make the sandy coal compound, get that automated, and start mass producing silicon bowls and silicon and liquid silicon and all that good stuff. It's going to be like a chain reaction. So, okay, so that stuff's running and it's making the charcoal and sending it to the cart. Okay, this is filling up right now. Okay, so it should, well, it's dumping the wood into that. Stop doing that. You don't have anything left to chop. Stop chopping. Okay, yeah, you can see that it's filled up on wood now. It was trying to stick in the engine slot, but I had to stop that. That shouldn't be an issue here in a second. It's going to continue chopping leaves because it still sees that, okay, I can stick more saplings and more apples in here. So it is going to try to collect that stuff, but it's not really a big deal. Even if it wastes a little bit, it's not really a big deal, you know. But you can see that we've still got 6 charcoal left out of what was it, 50-ish, around in the 50s. We did use a little bit of coal, but you know, it's not even going to use a full stack of charcoal to fill up all of its inventory with stuff. And you can see that it looks like most of these trees have regrown, I think. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty well all regrown now. So, if we pop over here, this is like Just Cause going on with this thing. It should be coming around the corner any second now. There it goes. Pop, 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 pop. So it shouldn't touch the shiny charcoal unless it just somehow it burns through everything and it needs it. Which is kind of what I wanted that extra smelter for, because if it happens to need it, if it's in like a dire situation, it'll always have some sort of power. So it's pulling out all the wood now. I'm going to go ahead and dump that in there. And it's going to empty all this stuff out, and you can see that the nodes are basically, they're pulling out as fast as this can dump things. It's pulling out the stuff, and it's sending it to the drawers, which will then be sending it to make charcoal. Yeah, see, there's 10 stacks. There's 4.5 stacks. There's 2 stacks. And then this should be getting that wood little by little. It should be getting that wood and making more charcoal with it. And then, of course, the charcoal is going to come over here. You can see it did, or it should, here in a second, it should fill up its charcoal before it takes off again. It should grab whatever's in there. So, there we go, and there we go. And now it's off again. So now that that's going, now that that's producing charcoal, you can see we've got a little over 24 stacks of wood. We've got 7 stacks of saplings. We have almost 3 stacks of apples. And of course, these 3 are all going to be making power. And then we have 73,000 buckets, or, well, we have 73 buckets of creosote at the moment. And we can store 2 billion millibuckets of creosote. That's why I'm actually surprised that it's more expensive than the drums, because the drums can't store that much, you know. I think this one stores like 500 or 1,000 buckets, basically. And it's a little bit more expensive, to say the least. But I think that's what we're going to stick with, though. I don't think we're gonna switch to pyrolysis or anything like that, because I think it's going to be plenty. I know it's fast enough to keep this filled up on charcoal. One thing we could do, since we have this set up, output routing node, we're feeding in charcoal. Yeah, let's say keep 192 charcoal. So it's only going to keep 3 stacks of charcoal in this, and it's not going to keep any more. It should recognize this, I think. Because even though it's feeding into the external distributor is acting as kind of a extension of the cargo manager. So I think if we tell it only keep 3 stacks of charcoal in here, it's only going to keep 3 stacks of charcoal in the cargo manager, I think. We'll find out once this builds up on charcoal. So, okay, it has the 4th one running. Yay. But anyways, I know it's about wrapping up point for this episode, so I'm going to end this one out here. Next episode, when we come back, we are going to start producing some power, and once we get some power started generating, we're going to start doing some item automation, and then generating more power. because I want to get a sawmill in place so we can start making planks, and then from planks we'll start making treated wood, and then probably some other things too, and keep those in stock. But I do want to start moving in towards that. But before we do that, I want to get power started, so we'll be starting into some of that stuff next episode. But we'll probably keep working on the tree farm for a few more episodes, getting things automated and in place for various types of power generation that we're going to be using from that. So, also I want to get storage upgrades or storage things, upgrade templates. I want to get these automated here soon. Of course, they do take iron and this, which actually we'll probably be getting into the rolling machine soon, because whenever we automate power, we're going to be automating power with. I've got to check. I know there was a version of Tech Reborn where you could use RF, but I think now you have to use the FE or whatever. I think I've got to double check that. So, but we're going to start getting into Tech Reborn, so we'll start generating power with Tech Reborn as well as some RF. Unless they're interchangeable, we'll see. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay updated with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe. I'll see you guys then.